So actually, yeah, we have one technical here with us and three participants, and one of our presenter, she's trying to get into the Zoom link.
Okay, I think that we get the presenter, that is more important. This is a chance for them to present their paper. So try our best to get the presenter to come in first. That is more
Okay.
important.
So we will wait for the presenter to enter.
Not saying waiting, but getting him or her to come in quickly. Then we can start.
Yeah,
Otherwise, then it's not fair to our participant. Our participant is waiting
yeah.
for them. We shouldn't wait.
Uh,
Okay, we try to chase them to come in. Otherwise, then they will miss the opportunity.
Hello, Doctor. I'm Dr. Hayati here.
Hi, Dr. Nohayati. How are you? Long time no
Yes,
see.
Alhamdulillah. Good
Okay,
to be
are you
part of
presenting?
I'm supposed to present this evening, but while waiting for my laptop, I will use my phone to watch others' presentation first. Can we do that?
Okay. So I'll get our technical team to help you, Doctor. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
we will begin our session now. Hello and good afternoon. I bid to everyone present here today, distinguished chairperson, lecturers, presenters, and participants. Welcome to this parallel session in the International Conference on Media and Communication, MENTION 2021. My name is Kuroshini and I'll be the MC for today, and I will be assisted by Muhammad Amiruddin in this parallel session. This session is A12 with the team Media and Youth 1, and the chairperson for this session is Associate Professor Dr. Chang Peng Ki. We have three paper presenters today, and each presenter is given 10 to 15 minutes of presentation time. If any of these presenters could not give a live presentation due to internet problems, we will play back their video, but we hope the presenters is available for question and answer session. So without further ado, over to you, Dr. Chang.
Thank you very much, our MC for today. That is Korushini. And also, I would like to say thank you also to Saudara Amiruddin as a technical person. And welcome to this session A12 with the team of Media and Youth. And I'm actually very fortunate to have the presenter here. And I know that we should have three, but we understand that some of them that could have technical problem. So therefore, and we hope we will just listen to their video presentation. And in the list that given to me, that I saw that the first person is actually from UKM, University Kebangsaan Malaysia. She is Adeline Aris, and she's going to share with us this analyzing depression narratives on social media among youth in Malaysia. And next is actually Nohayati, my friend here, Dr. Nohayati from USIM, University Science Islam Malaysia. And she's going to share with us on this communicating stress according to Divine and interpersonal communication among USIM's students during pandemic COVID-19. I understand that she's having difficulty on the laptop, but somehow she's coming in with the handphone. Thanks a lot, my friend here, Dr. Nohayati. And finally, that we will have another presenter from UPM, University Putra Malaysia. There is No Vidaya, okay? And No Vidaya is going to share with us this the role of public relations in enhancing community organizing campaign Kuala Lumpur SEA Games KL 2017 management case study. So for the information to all presenter here, and I'm also at the same time to evaluate I'll be given a rubric to evaluate for your presentation, and you'll be given marks, and subsequently they will pass to the committee. And towards the end of this conference, and hopefully among three of you, one of you will get the best presenter award. Okay, so stay with us. So I think that this is actually a good chance for all of us to share our thought, and at the same time to do a little bit of competition. So that is actually adding on the excitement among all of us here. And as mentioned by Kurushini just now, I'm going to be your chairperson, and you are actually given 10 to 15 minutes to present your paper, and we will listen to all three presenters first, and towards the end, I think that we will have some time and to have a Q&A, and participant also may ask questions. Okay, so we encourage the participant to ask questions, but keep your question towards the end of the whole presentation. We are not going to open one by one, but we are actually keeping it towards the end of the presentation by all three presenters. So, okay, so without further ado, I think let me see the first presenter. I'm not sure whether she is here or not. Kurushini, is Adeline Aris here?
No, doctor, she's not here
Okay,
today.
sorry. And I understand that's why that we do have some kind of a technical problem. But I know Amiruddin is going to help us to listen, to play the video. And all of us here, the participant, can listen to the video at the same time also can take note on the question. And we try our best to reach her, to get her to answer us. So please, Amiruddin, so it's your chance to play your part, to play the video for all of us here.
All right, sir.
Thank you, Amiruddin.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Hafifah Jamaluddin from International Islamic University, Malaysia. For MENTION 2021, I'm going to present on the impact of perception, attitude and behavior on cyber resilience towards online fraud threats among IIUM students. The co-authors are Prof. Saudah Wook, Dr. Tengku Siti Aisyah Tunku Azman, and also Dr.
Sorry, can you
Narawi
pause a while?
Sadiq.
Sorry, is it the first paper that not the list that given to me? Sorry, yeah. Sorry for interruption. This is not. Amiruddin, are you playing the correct one? Because the one that given to me is Adeline Aris on analyzing depression narrative on social media among youth in Malaysia. Not from IIUM. Sorry. Otherwise, I think that is not fair because I have the rubric here to evaluate, and this is not the name given to me.
Doctor, I think there's like a mistake in the technical. We are looking through it again.
So, am I making a mistake, or who made a mistake here?
No. This is not the video that's supposed to be presented.
Yeah.
Oh, we got the wrong video. Sorry, doctor.
So luckily that I'm not. I'm quite alert. Okay, even though I'm old. Sorry, yeah, to the participant. My apology to all the participants here. Sorry.
It's okay, doctor. It's okay.
Sorry, doctor. I only reached for A12. I only received this one video only.
Dekat mana video-video?
For A12.
Presentation.
No, this is not in A12.
Yang untuk
Sorry, I think that if that's the case, if I don't have it, I will have to so-called disqualify it because it's not fair, because this is actually under the theme of media and youth. And it's a wrong team coming to the wrong place. And I may not have the expertise to evaluate as well. Sorry. So there is no more video. So confirm if there is no video that I supposed to receive from Adeline Aris together with Dr. Emma Mezawati, Muhammad, Arina Aris, Aslan, and also Hiwa Abdullah Muhammad No from UKM. The title is Analyzing Depression Narratives on Social Media Among Youth in Malaysia. And this is for the theme of media and youth. session A12. So if there's none, then I would like to proceed with the second one. So, wow, Dr. Nohayati, you are here. So I
Yes,
hope that I
Dr.
got your title correct. That is Communicating Stress According to Divine and Interpersonal Communication among USIM students during pandemic COVID-19. So if you are ready, and I would like to invite you to present your paper, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Chang. I actually am quite panicked because those things cannot work accordingly. However, thank you to Mention and the organizer and the committee who helped me a lot. Thank you to Koshi because she helped me uploading the slides. Hopefully everyone can see the slides. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I am Dr. Nuhayati Rafida Beto Abdurrahim and my colleague, Associate Professor Dr. Osama Kanakir. The title given is Communicating Stress According to Divine and Interpersonal Communication Among USIM Students During Pandemic COVID-19. It comes to our attention when COVID-19 came to Malaysia since 2019. We had a number of issues in USIM, particularly when the stress quite overwhelmed over our expectations. We thought that this online learning could be I would say could be manageable, could be, I would say, in peace situation, the students can overcome the challenges due to this online learning environment. However, it seems not. It seems not, because the students have this quite number of level of stress quite high. Some of them try to hurt themselves. Some would try to change, to convert to other religion. Suicide. This is quite. We don't expect this to happen, Doctor, and other members of the floor. So this research is to see how, what are the factors, what are the other factors that can that contribute to the stress level and whatnot. And one of them is what the topic is about: communicating stress through the divine, meaning the communication with God, and interpersonal communication. Okay, so human beings nowadays, human beings are easily stressed because they are not closely to the Creator.
Is it hang here? Yeah.
Your soul feel very lonely. So the true, not claim, believers are seldom stressed because of their persistent presence with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yeah. The Quran says, those who believe in and whose hearts are assured by the remembrance of Allah, unquestionably by the remembrance of Allah, the hearts are assured. We believe that with the divine of with Allah, with God, with the Creator, our soul
I think it's the line having problem, or Kurushini is actually her.
Yes, doctor. It's actually Dr. Nohayati's line having problem, I guess, because she's stuck for me as well.
Okay, because that's why it's not smooth here. That I'm using fixed line. That's why I'm not using Wi-Fi.
become so. Being in a state of forgetfulness of Allah is the root cause of stress. The Iman makes us sure that whatever happens in this life, whether a loss of a close person, money, or health, is happened by the will of Allah. Iman also ensures that whatever comes from Allah is the best, even though we do not understand its wisdom. Whenever stress comes, it becomes mandatory upon us to go back to Allah to alleviate it if you want to get relieved. Yeah. So what are the issues nowadays? In the past 2 years since pandemic COVID-19 came to Malaysia, there's an announcement of MCO. Next slide, dear. The announcement of the MCO, which created huge reactions from Malaysians, especially those who live in remote areas. As we understand, when we have online environment, these students have to attend or continue their studies through their home, wherever the place that they stay, regardless of the facilities, regardless of the issues they had during the semester. Okay, now we already like 3 semesters, Dr. Chang, 3 semesters for online. So the MCO applies to every Malaysian citizen without compromising, except those bearing a permission letter or any documents verifying the need to travel. So there is no difference in the level of psychological well-being of students living on and off campus during the MCO, meaning even though the students stay in the hostel, in the university, they still cannot travel. They have to stay in the hostel 24 hours. In USIM, we practically we allow them once a week only, and that's in the past 2 years. So this online learning, what happened to online learning? The news reporting on the mental health of university students are found to be overwhelmed. The students are stressed despite being in different residences. The deterioration of students' psychological well-being is due to the dumping of assignments given by the lecturers and not getting proper moral support. Yeah, we also had issues suicide, case of suicide, attempt of suicide. Yeah. So the situation of MCO influences the students' psychological well-being and self-control. They take a long time to adapt to the new norms of teaching and learning to graduate, and people around play a vital role in providing moral support to them. Next. So our objective is first to identify the level of divine and interpersonal communication by the students during the pandemic. Second is to examine the level of stress coping ability. This a part of the relationship or communication occurs between them and Allah, between the individuals around them. We are looking at the stress coping ability, how they are actually able to overcome the stress during the pandemic of COVID-19. And lastly, to recognize relationships among the divine communication, interpersonal, and stress coping ability among the students during pandemic COVID-19. We employ quantitative approach using survey through a Google form. Among USIM students, the survey, the questionnaire was established using Likert skills items, analyze and the analysis involved descriptive as well as inferential statistics such as correlation and t-test. The Chroma Alpha shows a strong reliable for 3 variables: divine, interpersonal communication, and stress coping ability. Next. The finding reveals a balance. I mean, not usually we will see a female quite a majority and far from the number of male. So in this case, we have male 92 and female 138. Altogether, we have 230 respondents. We also had difficulties during the data collection in which they feel scared to answer the divine part of the divine part. They're quite scared to answer because it's like someone is examining your iman, your religious. So that's why we had that, we experienced, and this is a lesson which part where the research when involved God and or creator the respondents quite reluctant to answer the questionnaire. The year of studies, we can see that balance also from year 1 to year 4. And then looking at the curriculum, if you look at the curriculum, a majority comes from students who joined the volunteerism corps, such as Palapis, Suksis, yeah, and other uniform units. So we believe that since they are the majority, they are trained, they have the training to develop their inner strength, mental and physical. Okay, since they learn from their home, we assume they might do some part-time job, and the result shows only 65 doing part-time job. They most of them, 212, stay with their parents, and their phone line is prepaid. Their phone lines are prepaid. We can see where the stress actually come from. We realize when they use prepaid, then they use a lot of money to top up. Yeah, whenever the data is out, they are out of data. While internet using whatever service provider they subscribe, such as Sacom, Maxis, U-Mobile, or Digi, 156 of them. Bottom, you can see the level of those variables. Level of divine shows high, alhamdulillah, high level of meaning positive relationship with Allah. And interpersonal communication, majority at moderate level. And lastly, the coping stress ability also shows at moderate level. Yeah. Therefore, when we have this relationship analysis, a person correlation analysis, next year, it was found that interpersonal communication. Koshi, can you go to the next slide, please? It was found that interpersonal communication has more significant influences on stress coping than the divine with Allah SWT. The failure in interpersonal communication affects the stress coping ability. We can see that the divine is something that unseen and a secrecy between us and God. But somehow the communication among individuals around them has actually influenced their stress coping ability. Even though the strength of the correlation is moderate, statistically, the model shows no correlation between the divine with Allah SWT and interpersonal communication. So there's no relationship occur between the divine with Allah and interpersonal communication. So we conclude that the stress coping ability or the stress level is actually coming much more from the human themselves, the individuals they live together during pandemic COVID-19. So much so online learning environment has posed some challenges to the students. The divine communication with Allah is not affected. We can see that the level is high and stable. Somehow what affect them the communication with the individuals who live with them. However, theoretically, in Quran, the divine with Allah SWT should strengthen the interpersonal communication and the stress coping ability. But in this study, it is evidence that their level of divine communication has no relationship with their interpersonal communication and stress coping ability. So we suggest more studies to look at other factors on not only the divine, but perhaps the practice of that interpersonal communication, the expectation, for example, the needs and the interest in this during the pandemic, what they actually needs more to be able to comprehend with the studies and the endemic we are facing now. With that, thank you so much thank you so much for this opportunity, Dr. Cha. I return the session to you. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you very much, Dr. Nuhayati, and you have spent about 13 minutes just on time. So, and very, I mean, said full kind of a research done by you, and you have surveyed 230 USIM student, and also measure the 3 important variable. There's divine interpersonal communication and also the stress coping ability. And I think that I'll keep the Q&A, and I do have some question, maybe our participant also the same. So just keep the question first, and later on that we can ask Dr. Nuhayati. So in the meantime, I hope our technical team can also try to locate our first presenter. So until now, I have not seen her yet. And likewise, I'm not sure whether or not our third presenter, there is no Vidaya. So I'm not sure whether no Vidaya is here. So
I've already located
Doctor?
Adeline's
please.
video, the first presenter's video. I already located it.
Okay, good. So, but maybe that will come back later on.
All right.
Just let me check. Let me check first. With is the no Vidaya here?
Doctor, even though Vidya is not able to attend today, but she's told us that she already sent us the pre-recorded video. So we are trying to locate the pre-recorded video. So in the meantime, I think we can play Miss Adeline's
Oh, so you have not
presentation first.
located her video yet.
Miss Adeline, yes, but Miss Noor Vidya, we can't locate it at the moment.
Okay,
So my
so I
technical
think
partner is
just
looking
for the
into it.
information to all participants, since our technical team has put up the effort, and we are actually thankful that we managed to get our first presenter, that is Adeline Aris, for her title. Maybe Saudara Amiruddin, that you can start playing her video that with the title Analyzing Depression Narrative on Social Media Among Youth in Malaysia. In the meantime, with this 15 minutes, hopefully that you can locate the third presenter, that is Novidaya video later on. Thank you. So over to you, Amiruddin. And I have to do my part here. Thank you. Hey, are you playing, Amiruddin? Amiruddin, keep quiet.
Yes, sir, one sec.
Okay. Please, while playing the what we call the first presenter video from this Adeline Aris, so you also help me to locate for Novidaya as well. Okay, please. Thank you. You can play. Can you play the video? Are you okay, Amiruddin? Okay, so this is the first presenter, Adeline Aris.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Adeline. Before I begin my presentation, I would like to first apologize for not being able to join today's session. But this is a pre-recorded video, and if you have any questions or comments, I would value your opinion, and you can always send me an email. I have my email address at the end of the presentation slides. I'm also in the WhatsApp group. You have my number, so you can always send me a hello, because this research paper is actually not conclusive yet. I'm still planning to brush it up for my proposal defense. So today's presentation is on analyzing depression narratives on social media among youth in Malaysia. And my supervisors are Associate Professor Dr. Emma Mirzawati Muhammad, Dr. Arina Anis Azlan, and Dr. Hilwa Abdullah. So let's begin the presentation. A little bit about myself. I'm a PhD candidate under mention. I am also a lecturer from MMU. I'm currently on a prolonged illness leave for cancer. Why am I mentioning to you about cancer? Because there are some relevant details in this research where we talk about um, uh, sharing our feelings and emotions on social media. Okay, because as a cancer patient myself, I was only diagnosed 4 months ago, and I'm having a difficult time coping and accepting. And throughout the process, I share a lot of my feelings and emotions on social media, especially on Facebook, any communication platform. You know, I just feel the need to vent out, not to seek attention, just to let it out. And because of that, people who are not as empathic, or people who do not understand the situation, or people who do not realize that mental health is very important, they misjudge me and label me as as something, as a negative person, where if you were in my shoes, you know that ranting and venting is just a way of expressing and sharing. It's not really a cry for help. uh, uh, well, I'm no longer a youth, so my intentions of sharing those emotions might be different from those who are younger, who are less mature than myself. Okay, so as we progress into the presentation, you'll understand why I share my experience as a cancer patient, even though it's only been 4 months, but it has been a roller coaster ride for me in terms of managing emotions and feelings, especially. Okay, so what will we be looking at today? Problem, of course, the objectives of the research, how do we plan to carry it out, and what are the expected outcomes of this topic. Okay, so initially, many years ago, because I've been teaching for 13 years. I've been teaching only for 13 years. 13 tahun tu kejap lah, not that long. So I deal with a lot of students. I'm sure there are also lecturers in this room, and you deal with a lot of students too. Okay. On a personal level, I find myself quite attached and close to a lot of students. So I follow them on social media, and when I save their numbers, they allow me to look at their WhatsApp stories. They don't hide it from me. So, whenever they express their emotions, sometimes, and I can read it. I've seen students sharing um, their feelings on depression, but undiagnosed. They just feel that they need to go and get help. They often share this as well on their social media platforms. Sometimes, they share their emotions, whether they realize it or not. Sometimes they're very cryptic, very mysterious. They sort of like want to try and attract your attention to gauge you in a conversation. So, and then this happened, Sarawak teen jumps to death hours after asking Instagram friends if she should kill self. Okay, so youth or teens can be seen using social media as a resort to asking for help, or perhaps to post their suicide note, you know, uh, in the hopes of getting that final help from someone out there. And this is often misread or misinterpreted, um, mis misread by people when they don't understand these codes embedded into the messages. So before we delve deeper, we take a look at what is depression. It's a common and serious medical illness that negatively affects how you feel, the way you think, and how you act. And face to face, or in a clinical setting, you have a psychiatrist, you have clinical psychologist doing diagnostic evaluation and test, to determine whether this particular person has depression or not. So they will interview, have a physical examination, have blood test. Is it due to a medical condition? Is it due to a vitamin deficiency? Is it because of external factors like peer pressure, etc.? So these can be done through diagnostic evaluation. But how do we plan to do it? How do we plan to read depression narratives on social media? Because it's going to be difficult, definitely. That's why we will be involving people who have experienced depression. We'll get to that slide in a moment. Okay, so what are the objectives of the research? So we aim to look at or explore youth's interpersonal depression narratives on social media. We explore their motivations. Why do they share these depression narratives on social media? Is it because they need help? Is it because they just want attention? But if you get that attention, definitely you would want someone to help you. So as I said earlier, someone such as my age, when I vent out my frustration, in the early stage where I was diagnosed with cancer, I really didn't want anyone to say anything to me, but the frustration was just there, so I just typed out whatever I felt. And if anyone responded, I didn't respond back. I just read the messages. But I think it was just looking for comfort. It was not actually wanting someone to help me, because I think I know how to help myself. It's just that I just wanted those comforting words, to help cope with the diagnosis. Okay. So the third aim is to investigate youth's expected responses from individuals who read their post on social media. So what do they want? What do they want from their readers? Like for myself, I said I wanted comfort. Perhaps these youth have different expected responses. Perhaps they want someone to ask them, "Are you okay? Do you want to get help? Do you want me to go to the hospital with you?" So those sort of things. So as I said, how do we do it on social media? So we plan to ask the survivors themselves. Could be a survivor, could be someone who is still getting treatment for depression, but it must be someone who has been diagnosed, so that they can share their experiences, and it is deemed more credible. Okay, but we are not there to diagnose them, just to get hints or tips on how to identify depression narratives, and how can we be cautious or take action once we read these narratives on social media. Okay, so this is past research in predicting depressive symptoms online. Previous literature, they mainly focus on studying semantics and visuals through computational methods, which I think loses that human touch, because we talk about feelings, we talk about emotions. It's actually best that we interview diagnosed patients with mental illness instead of using computers to read these or to identify these narratives on social media. So how do we do that? Well, we have identified the population in Putrajaya, Selangor, Perak, and Sabah, which is according to statistics, shows that these are where suicide and depression is prevalent. So we have decided to look into these these 4 states in Malaysia. So we plan to use purposive sampling because there are a few criteria that we look into. One of them is approaching and studying patients who have been diagnosed with depression for at least 3 years or more. Experienced patients who have gone for treatment, who have gone to see clinical psychologists and psychiatrists. These are the people that we want to approach and ask their experiences when using social media and when sharing their emotions or their stories about their depression on social media. I know that there are some patients who want to keep low once they're diagnosed with depression, but sometimes they do it without realizing it. Sometimes they share, but perhaps they don't overshare. They share, but not as frequent, perhaps, and so on. And we look at data collection. We have identified in-depth interview as a tool for data collection because we will be dealing with high risk and vulnerable individuals. So we want to make them feel comfortable, we don't want them to feel threatened. So we also have a plan that we must hire a clinical psychologist to carry out the interview because I'm not a trained psychologist and I cannot do it professionally because it is not my field of expertise. So we'll be hiring a clinical psychologist to carry out the interview on behalf of myself. I will be present during the interview, and this clinical psychologist will be doing the interview for me. And then the procedures, definitely we must get consent from the informant, explain to them the purpose of the study, how are we going to use the data or information that they share with us. We also have to explain that some questions might trigger their depression and anxiety. Hence, it must be handled by an expert, a clinical psychologist. And we also must get ethical approval, either from the university or the faculty itself, so that if anything happens or for publication purposes, the ethical um, approval must be obtained from necessary parties. So what are the expected outcome from this research? We expect to provide novel and credible guidelines on how the public or anyone for that matter can communicate with young people who display symptoms or who we think are portraying suicidal symptoms on social media based on real life experiences of depression survivors or patients that we have interviewed. So as I said earlier, previous studies, they use a lot of computational tools. So what is novel about this research is that we um, approach survivors or patients so that we get a clearer view, first-hand experience from credible people. So we hope that this guideline will actually help young people cope with their mental health issues. And there is a small hope, that perhaps we can save someone from taking their life away once they, upload a suicide note on their social media platform in hopes of stopping someone before it's too late, right? So basically that is my presentation. Thank you
Yeah.
very much for listening. I'm sorry if I took a lot of your time. So if you have any questions or
Yes.
comments, because as I said earlier, I plan to defend this proposal, this topic for my PhD. There is my email there. You could respond there, or later there is a Q&A session. You can always leave your comments or questions with the moderator. I will try my best to entertain them if my condition permits. So thank you very much, and all the best to the rest of the presenters. Thank you. Assalamualaikum.
Okay. Thank you. I think it's slightly exceeded 15 minutes. Actually, I'm timing it, even though I do not have the timer at the other side. I think that it's about 17 minutes. I calculated. I do not have the timer over at the video. So because that is actually affected the point that I'm actually given, the timeliness. I think that the time frame given is actually 15 minutes only. Okay. So, okay, and thanks a lot to the first presenter, in fact, and I think that the other way around, Dr. Nohayati was the second, and we are actually trying to locate for the third presenter. I understand from our technical team, and until now, we cannot locate no Vidaya, and likewise, also, we cannot locate the video, okay? So, at my end, I can't do anything, and I will only accept two presenters for this session A12 that having Adeline Iris and also Nohayati Rafida. So, and I suppose our participant also not many. And should you have any question, and I can see over here that we have No Shamimi and also Emiliza. And who else? I think that only two of you. And also Nohayati, also you can ask question to the first presenter. I open to the floor for Q&A. Please, I give priority to the participant first. If there's none, then perhaps let me ask question. And I think that Korishini, as mentioned by Adeline also, she is actually prepared to answer in our WhatsApp. So maybe I would just share this session, and then you can just type a very quick one, simple one for her. While I'm actually asking Dr. Nohayati first, the first presenter, so-called the first presenter.
Yes, Doctor.
Yeah. So really, I think that given the opportunity to the participant, Emiliza and also Nashamimi, don't be shy. I think that the small is actually better. I think that it actually can have more interaction. So I think that we have remaining. I'm not sure. We don't think that we are actually going to take the whole 1 hour, but at least that each presenter will pick up 1 or 2 questions. So okay, and for Nohayati, I ask you question first, then after that I will ask another question to Adeline so that you can prepare your answer. So okay, my understanding from what that you have presented, it is interesting that eventually you want to see how USIM student that coming to this stress coping behavior, right? The ability, so that you have tried to look at two, I suppose they are the independent variable. And these two independent variables, they are actually not related to each other because they have no significant correlation. That is divine and interpersonal skill. And somehow I noticed what the statistic given by you, even though you're not running a regression analysis, you just run a correlational test. And I find that the what we call the Pearson coefficient for this interpersonal communication is close to 0.4 something. It is considered as like still, I don't say it's actually strong, but approaching to moderate. Okay, and for divine is actually quite close to 0.2. it is almost like very weak and almost negligible. So, and I suppose that you do have some kind of the answer like, well, you did mention also interpersonal communication play an important part. So this is where that we are actually talking to our friend, speaking to people. That is what the interpersonal, like what that we are actually doing now, even though we cannot meet each other, but the interpersonal communication can still go online. As compared with the other one, I think that I think that they are actually talking about reading Quran and so forth. And a lot, I think, I'm not saying that totally intrapersonal, but they are actually also communicate with the superpower, right? And I remember that I read Professor Yusuf, formerly the IIUM retired professor, and I think that you should have read also. And I'm not sure whether or not that that part of what we call the effect play an important part to help students to come to coping with stress. So perhaps that you can elaborate a little bit more. Okay, so you keep that first. And at the same time, maybe Koroshini, that you can also help me to type a question, see whether or not that Adeline can answer. And I noticed that she was talking about the looking at the online messages by the participant. Correct me if I'm wrong. So, and they're actually trying to detect any depression kind of a narrative, right? Her topic is actually about what we call analyzing depression narrative on social media. So I am not sure. I think that at this stage, and she is talking about detection by manually. That means it's actually, we are actually trying to search for it, and then we are actually trying to evaluate by human being, or does she has the intention to go into the ability of data analytic, and also about this what we call going to the deep learning about 4IR, using the technology and can analyze all the messages, and that can cut down a lot of time. Otherwise, it's actually very time consuming. So my question here is, does she has the intention to go into like with the technology assistant in analyzing all those depression narrative? So for the time being, I'm actually throwing two questions, one to Nohayati, another one to Adeline. So maybe let Adeline try to read the question, and at the same time, maybe let's listen to Nohayati. So, okay, over to you, Dr. Nohayati.
Thank you very much, Dr. Chang.
I'm so
Thank you so
sorry.
much.
I'm so sorry for interruption.
Okay.
But Dr. Chang, can you please repeat the question again so I can get it right?
Okay,
Because
okay,
it was
okay.
too fast.
If that's the case, I think that I can, maybe later on I can call her in the online, is it?
Yeah, you can either send
Group.
the message in the chat and I can send it to her, or you can just send it in
Never mind,
our
after this, I'll
WhatsApp group.
call online. Okay, I think that maybe Dr. Nohayati, just give me a little bit of minute.
Yes, you
And
can,
I think
please.
that, and how do I go and call her? This is a part. Otherwise, then she will lose mark in terms of interactiveness. This is where
Okay.
you know the rubric, right? You all have the rubric. It's open to you all. I have to be very fair. Okay. So otherwise, it's actually I'm actually giving chance to all of us. So I'm trying to give a phone call to, what is her number? Koroshini?
I'll send it to you. Do you want me to read it out, Doctor?
I just want to read out because I don't want to type, because it's a bit, after that I type wrongly.
Oh, okay.
What is her number? End with what number?
It ends with 8551.
8551. I call her now. So after that, can ask her to answer through you.
All right.
Okay. And well, I cannot call like this. I still have to go for a message. Okay, okay. I just let me call her and talk to her. Okay. She's not answering me. I'm still waiting. Okay, I think that just to cut it simple, Kurushini, my question is actually, does he has any intention to go into technology assistant based, like going for 4IR, for data analytic and so forth? Because otherwise that the amount of data that she will collect online, or the narrative online, is actually quite a lot. How is she going to cope with that data? Hello. Okay, I cannot get her. Okay, so that is what I think that your young people that you all know. Now we are actually talking about 4IR, right? So that is actually suppose something that we actually have to have that in mind. Okay, sorry, Nohayati, and I think I want to come back to you and let you answer your part about this interpersonal communication and divine, and onto the effect of stress coping. Please.
Yes, thank you very much for this opportunity. I will. This is okay. Why the divine when the divine level seems higher, and where the interpersonal communication becomes at the level of moderate, yeah. A part of the relationship, each level of the level of each variable seems to be different from the divine, between the divine and interpersonal communication. So this study suggests that the communication with Allah, with God, with the Creator, is something that is, as I said, secrecy. It's not intra, because when you measure intrapersonal, is how you imagining, how you respond to your actions, your own actions. That is intra. But the divine is another level where you practice reading Quran, zikir, you perform prayers 5 times a day, in which is supposed to increase the iman. When the iman level is higher, it will go back to the interpersonal communication. Somehow it does not go that way. That's
no correlation.
No relation. Yes, no correlation. So this it means we are lacking another variable, doctor, which is intrapersonal communication.
Yeah.
So the way that the relationship with Allah, how that actually correspond to intrapersonal, what's actually going on inside, in mind, in mind, and then they respond to interpersonal communication. Since communication is complex, because not only when we communicate with others, we also communicate with ourselves at the same time. So it becomes complicated when it comes to stress. They don't see how that the divine of communication, the divine communication with Allah actually supposedly, moderate, or I would say manage the stress that they have with the individuals around them. But it seems that's why we also conclude in our research in the article that the future research should include the intrapersonal communication as well. So we should look into this aspect. So there should be a better framework how this the stress can be dealt with, using the skills of intrapersonal, interpersonal, and the divine, of course, as Muslims. Thank you, Doctor. I think that's all the answers.
Thank you, Nohayati, for your answer. And of course, from your answer there, it raised some other question. And I suppose that our participant, after listening also, and I hope that has already make you have a warm up. So should you want to ask question, and I noticed there is also another participant with the Chinese name. I think that Yan Wen Qian, right? Yan, I think that you just came in. We are actually in this team of media and you. Perhaps that you missed out the part on the presentation. And you may also ask question because Dr. Nohayati is actually from University Science Islam Malaysia. In English, what they call, I suppose that she may not know Bahasa Melayu.
Islamic University of Malaysia.
Yeah. So
Thanks,
should you have any question to ask? Because Dr. Nurhayati is trying to answer the question, is actually talking about how that you communicate with God is actually, it's not directly, it's like intrapersonal communication. Then likewise, there is no correlation with interpersonal communication. Yeah, so, and I would like to get the participant. Otherwise, I think that we get ourselves for another 10 minutes while waiting for Adeline to answer, and also give chance to our technical team to locate the third participant video if we can get it. And otherwise, then after 3:20, we give ourselves until 3:20 for another 8 more minutes. And then there is no more question and no more video, and then no more answer from our first participant. And allow me to ask also further question, Dr. Nurhayati, I hope you don't mind, since I become like having a dialogue with you. And sorry, having said that, I think that Korishini and also Amiruddin, you also can ask question. You are also like participant. Don't make it like so stressed like we are actually working. We give ourselves until 3:20. We give ourselves.
Yeah, not supposed to have stress.
Yeah. So any question now? So I think that they are actually not for information, Korishini is our first year student. So joining UKM just only for this is actually weeks number 7. Okay, so it's a good effort. It's week number 7. So Amiruddin is our 3rd year student. I know him, my very good student. And last semester I taught him statistic. So I think that Amiruddin, that you can see how that Dr. Nurhayati is using statistic to present the findings. Okay, but one thing is actually not talking about the statistic per se, like we are talking about the effect sizes and so forth, and also the strength of correlations. But I would like to go back about your framework, like what you mentioned. Rather now is actually a little bit simplistic. You're actually going to add on a few more variable. But before coming out with this, your research framework, I would like to know about your conceptual framework and also your theoretical framework. And from which scholar and how that this item is actually being included in terms of constructing your instrument, your questionnaire. And I know that you are lucky to have your sample size 230. So we are not talking about the representativeness and so to say, but I think that coming back to this conceptualization and the operationalization. So sorry, it's just like having a viva in the conference. Yeah, I'm just joking. While waiting for the other 2 participants, and otherwise, then you can also ask question to Adeline.
It's okay. I would love to answer your question, Dr.
Okay,
Chow.
please.
Because it's not really answer, as you said. It's more like exchange of knowledge, exchange of experience. Speaking of theory, we are looking at theory of Tazkiyatun Nafs. This is a religion of Islam, looking at the self-assessment. Tazkiyatun Nafs is a self-assessment, how we portray, how we practice, and then we deliver. Okay, so that's why the level of iman, and that should be after the iman gets higher, it's supposed to work in order for interpersonal communication and stress. It's supposed to work that way. But now we're looking at the result does not support. Does not support the hypothesis, and in which we suggest further investigation on other aspect of communication, since we have intrapersonal communication as well. I want to go back to your I would say your suggestion about the level. The correlation, where the correlation between the divine and stress coping ability is weak, 0.2, and then the interpersonal seems higher. Seems higher, in which it goes to between weak and moderate. I would say it's moderate. So we found that the human being, this is the reality, the human being interacts with humans, which is more is tangible, and this is what they see, what they believe. That's where we have the word seeing is believing, and that's why the interpersonal communication seems have exert a greater influence towards stress coping ability. It's also another, in other words, we can say that the findings suggest that the higher the more positive the level of interpersonal communication, the stress coping ability also gets higher. So it's supposed gets higher, meaning they can cope with the stress if they receive supports from the individuals around them. Yeah. We are not talking about the lecturers only. I mean the lecturers of the online learning, but the individuals who stay with them, the parents, the siblings, who seems to pose more challenges. Because Dr. Chang, if you heard our students complaining while they listen to our lectures, the mother call, please go to the shop, pergi kedai beli ni beli tu, and then they got tired, they got enough for those commitments. That is what why the level of interpersonal communication seems greater than the divine itself, because Allah, the God tak kacau kita, Dr. Chang. The God, dia baik dengan kita, but the human seems have a greater impact on us, and that's what we conclude. So that's why we need to see the intrapersonal, what they actually have in their mind, a part of the interpersonal communication.
Thank you very much for the sharing. Yeah, I hope you don't mind that. Not question, not question. Yeah, we're actually receiving answer from Korishini. It's actually posting from Adeline. But before reading the answer from Adeline, and I would like to give a little bit of comment, not asking you to answer, and looking at what that you're actually saying. Your theory is actually, you talk about the self-awareness or apna. Is it that I'm not a religious person? I have to be very frank. I always joke, Prof. Manso, I think that you know him, right? So he said that, Chang, you tak ada agama. But one thing he said that I ada kepercayaan, okay? So I know, because I'm not holding on any particular religion, but I do have my belief, and my belief is actually about good deed, okay? So what I would like to comment, don't mind, no offense, just something for us to think or consider. And I'm actually looking at introvert and extrovert. And one is actually a lot to do, like you're talking about intra, you're actually talking about you communicate and you read Quran and everything is actually a lot to do with intra. So I think that part, somehow, I think that you notice that the correlation, I'm not saying like the contribution to stress coping is actually relatively lesser than interpersonal, that which I find that is actually more of extrovert. Right, so I think that why not consider another approach on Kalbu? I think that good deed.
On what?
Actually, Kalbu, is it that QALBU is actually doing good things like.
Oh, Kalbu, yeah, the heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that is actually making them is actually express. That is where that by expressing, then you are able to de-stress, I would say.
Yes.
So I'm just only throwing something for you to read.
Yes, Kalbu is the heart, the center.
Yeah.
Oh,
so okay, I think that coming back, let me see if I can answer the get from Adeline. Thank you very much for Korishini. That okay, Korishini has already posted on our chat saying like Adeline say that she doesn't plan to use technology as an analysis tool because a lot of that has been done in previous research. I'm more interested in studying survivors and patients. Okay, it's actually looking at the survivors and patients. I think that, okay. So, and I hope Nohayati also you can read, and also all participants. So I'm not going to further ask the question unless that from your, thanks to Korishini that you can just answer. Then if otherwise, we should have extra time for, okay, it's a clapping. Okay, thank you. I thought that you have question and raising hand. This is where that we are actually dealing with virtual, even though I know that it put ourselves into very much introvert. So, but I think that we can express ourselves. Assume that all of us just in front of, physically we are here, okay? So I think if we have nothing else, and I would like to again say thanks to, even though we have only 3 participants here, with the assistance from 2 technical team, that is actually Amiruddin and also Kurishini. And we have physically here, virtually here, but with appearance, there is Nohayati, our second presenter, and also one is actually with video. That is Adeline. Unfortunately, that we cannot get the 3rd presenter. So that is what the part that is a little bit regret. So yeah, just come in, Siti no Shahida. Yeah, you have anything any question? We are ending now. Actually, we have actually very little small small
I just arrived,
participants.
Dr. Chang.
Huh?
I just arrived.
Just arrived, huh? So,
Uh-uh.
okay. Are you also together with the 3rd presenter? No, right?
I know. I just from room A5.
Oh,
Just
okay,
finish
okay.
A5, then I just go to the just to go and to see another room.
I'm about to say bye-bye, Eddie, then you are coming. Welcoming you first,
Okay.
then only we'll say bye-bye to everyone.
Okay, thank you,
Okay,
Dr.
thank you.
Chang.
Again, thanks a lot. So again, go back to Korishini to close the session. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Chang. And with that, we have already arrived at the end of our parallel session today. And the next session will be at 4:05 evening PM. But before we end our session, we would like to have a photography session. So please turn on your cameras. But if you're not comfortable with turning on your cameras, it's okay. And we only have one page, so I will wait like a while if you're going to turn on your camera. I think that's like, okay, we have. All right,
You want
so I'll
ready?
take the.
I take it. Okay. It's okay.
Amiruddin, are you taking?
All right. Yes, I am. Indeed.
Okay.
Thank
Right.
you, Emeliza, and also No Shamimi. Thank you.
All
Okay,
right.
and also, okay.
1, 2, 3. Okay, another one. Freestyle. 1, 2, 3.
But you're not appear, Amiruddin.
Man.
Okay. So,
All right.
okay. Thank you. Okay. See ya. Bye.
Okay, thank you,
Bye.
Dr. Chang. Thank you,
Oh,
Kushini, Emre.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. See you again. Bye.
See you.
thank you, Doctor. Thank you,
Bye. Bye.
Dr. Nuhayat.